Have you ever been obsessed with something? Hey students, my name is David, and I have to confess that for the last few years I have been pretty obsessed with this TV show called The Office. And any of you who are watching who already know me, you've likely known this for a while now. I mean, I started watching the show and man, I just couldn't stop. I've watched it probably 5 times in the last few years. I have a bunch of Office t-shirts. I even went to the Office experience in Chicago last year. It was a lot of fun. And that's not to mention the fact that I literally quote The Office probably every day of my life. This show lives rent-free in my mind, and I'm always thinking of Office references throughout everyday life. Now, maybe you can't relate to my obsession with The Office, but I'm guessing you've probably had things in your life that you've been obsessed with. Like that song you played on repeat until you could sing it word for word by heart. Or that food that you just couldn't get enough of, or that video game that you just couldn't put down. You get the idea. An obsession is anything that we just can't help but think of over and over and over again. It's like a song that gets stuck in our head and plays over and over and over again in our heads. Sometimes it's not something that lives rent-free in our minds, but it's someone. Whether it's that cute girl at school, your celebrity crush, or your boyfriend, when we get excited about another person we are interested in, they tend to take up a lot of our headspace. Often it's like we can't stop thinking about that person no matter how hard we try. And that's totally normal, by the way, and it's not necessarily a problem, but it does become a problem when a person or the idea of finding the one person becomes an obsession, or you get this obsession about dating. You've probably seen this happen with people you know. Maybe you have a friend who they can't have a conversation without talking about their crush, or maybe you've had one of your friends completely ditch you after they started dating, and now they only spend time with their girlfriend or boyfriend. How annoying is that, right? So how do you know when something or someone becomes an unhealthy obsession? Well, if you have somebody in your life and they're all you think about, they're all you talk about, or they're the only person you spend time with, then you may be obsessed with that person. Or if you don't have somebody in your life and the idea of someone takes up your time and energy, and the idea of dating takes up all this time and space, and you're searching and you're waiting and you're hoping to find that person, you talk about it so much so, maybe you even talk about this person more than somebody who's actually dating, well then you're probably obsessed with the idea of dating. There's nothing wrong with being excited about someone or having someone in your life, but when everything else in your life seems to fade away because of a person, that can be a problem. Here's a few reasons why. Number one, you miss out. There's so much to do in high school and junior high that you'll potentially miss out on all that if you're obsessed with the relationship or the idea of relationship. You'll miss out on the chances to make memories with your friends, connect with your family, and develop your talents. You may even miss out on chances to learn new things or to serve others. In other words, being too focused on any one thing, whether it's a person, a relationship, or a hobby, it's never a good idea because you will miss out on the important things in life. Number two, you alienate people. Your friends do notice when they're no longer a priority. They can feel that distance and separation that eventually will take a toll on your friendships. Number three, you can lose yourself when you become obsessed because tying so much of yourself and your life in someone else can cause you to lose sight of who you're becoming. You might find yourself losing a sense of your identity or your uniqueness. You may find yourself only listening to the music they like, spending less time on your hobbies, or not even acting like yourselves. These years before you graduate, they're a great opportunity to learn more about yourself. And if you're wrapped up in someone else, you might not get a sense of who you are apart from the person you're in a relationship with or you want a relationship with. And look, hey, there's no judgment here. It's easy to become obsessed, and we've all messed up in certain ways with this stuff, but we want you to live a full life, and obsession, it causes you to miss out. So the question is, what do we do when we find ourselves obsessing over someone? To look for answers, let's look back to the book of Proverbs today. It's the same book we looked at last week to read something else that King Solomon, one of the more famous kings of Israel, wrote. He says this, if you find honey, eat just enough of it. Too much of it, if you eat too much of it, you'll vomit. Here Solomon is talking about honey, which is sweet, it's tasty, and it even has some health benefits, at least compared to sugar. The website Healthline shared 7 health benefits of honey. Here's a couple. Honey is rich in antioxidants, which help your body in many ways. It's better for your blood sugar than eating regular sugar, and it may improve your heart health. At the end of the article, the author wrote, honey offers several potential health benefits thanks to the beneficial compounds it contains. It's a great alternative to sugar, but only consume it in moderation as it still behaves like sugar in your body. Know this, even after listing all the positive benefits of honey when compared to sugar. The author still advises us to eat it only in moderation, meaning only once in a while and not excessively. If you eat too much of it, you may get sick, just like Solomon said. So what does all this have to do with dating, relationships, and obsessions? Well, Solomon uses honey as an example of something that is a good thing but it can cause harm if it's not taken in moderation, if it becomes an obsession. He's basically saying that if you get too much of something, even a good thing, it has a potential to turn into a bad thing. Even a good thing like dating and relationships can become harmful to us when they turn into an obsession. So the question is, where's the line? When does it all go from good to too much? In order to figure this out, we're going to look at a passage written from the Apostle Paul. He wrote a lot of the New Testament, and this letter he wrote is called Ephesians. It was written to a church in the city of Ephesus. In the 5th chapter, he gives them some information, some instruction on how to go about their lives in a way that honors God. Paul says this, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is." Paul is saying, pay attention to how you're living your life. Don't just let life happen to you, and don't be foolish, but do the wise thing, because wise is certainly better than unwise, right? Using words like wise and unwise when it comes to dating is perfect, and I think better than using right and wrong, because often having a significant other in your life isn't necessarily as easy as right and wrong. In fact, the truth is, choosing to date or to not date in high school is more about wisdom than it is about right and wrong. Wisdom is different than deciding between right and wrong, because wisdom is asking what's best. I mean, if your parents have strictly banned dating, then obviously that's a right and wrong question. That's a different story. But most of the time, dating decisions are rarely about, is that person good or bad, and more about, are they good for me? And are they good for me right now? So Paul is encouraging his audience. He's saying, pay attention to what you do and do your best to make the best and wisest choice. This principle can be applied to just about anything in your life. Your friendships, your school, your schedule, your screen time, your habits, etc. The question we need to ask in every situation, and especially when it comes to dating, is, in light of my circumstances, what's the wise thing for me to do? Not what's wise for somebody else to do, but what's the wise thing for me to do? Now, when Paul says, make the most of every opportunity because the days are evil, you may be asking, are the days evil? Is Paul talking about a zombie apocalypse or something like that? Well, not quite. Actually, in the original language, the word Paul uses here means annoying or difficult or time-consuming. In other words, your time gets taken up by so much stuff you have to do already. We have to make the most of what's left with our time. Paul's referring to our tendency to waste time in unwise ways. You've probably experienced this before. Maybe you've had a free day from school or a break from school, and you just wasted it all, and you wished you could get that day back. But I mean, I've been there before, right? Paul wants his readers to make the most of the time that we have here on earth. When it comes to our time in junior high and high school, these are some of the most unique years of your life. You will look back at these days and be surprised at how important your current friendships are and how memorable this time is in your life. When everyone is talking about and reminiscing about their school days, you don't want to say, I missed that time with my friends because I was always with my girlfriend. Or, it sounds like it was fun, but I remember being miserable all the time because my crush was dating someone else. Oh, and it was the end of the world. You don't have to say that. You have a chance to make the most of these days by encouraging your friends, influencing people who are younger than you, and growing in so many areas, including in your faith. Another person you're dating or interested in shouldn't hold you back from doing those things. In other words, God has a plan for your life, and specifically for your life in high school and junior high. And the key is to pay attention to whether your obsession with someone you're dating or interested in is causing you to miss out on what these years have to offer. To summarize Paul's words in the context of dating, here's one way to think about it. Make the wisest choice with the time you have, and don't make anyone your everything. That's not a knock on the person that you're interested in or dating. They're probably great. This is about you and the power and time you're giving someone else in your life. Is dating something you can do with a part of your time and a part of your attention? If so, awesome. If someone you're dating has become your everything, if your dating life is holding you back from the rest of your life, it may be time to rethink some things. Here's what that looks like. If you're currently in a relationship, don't abandon the rest of the world around you. If we're going to be wise about our relationships, we have to live life in a way that prioritizes all our important relationships and all the most important things in our life. Don't ditch your friends, don't abandon your family, don't lose interest in the things you used to enjoy. You were a whole person before this person came into your life. So don't lose the other parts of yourself because of him or her. Get back to the things that used to make up your world. Get back to being you. If you aren't dating anyone, stop thinking that your life can't be good unless you start dating. I get it. It can be difficult when you feel like everyone except you has a date to prom or someone to post cute photos with, but you don't need another person to make you a whole person or for you to have a great junior high and high school experience. Go be you. Do the things that you like to do. Hang out with people you enjoy. If you meet someone along the way, great. But don't spend your time just waiting around for that person to show up or that crush to notice you. There's way too much that is awesome about your life to not enjoy it because you wish you are in a relationship. Trust God with the future of your relationships. This isn't something we do one time and check off the list. Trusting God with our relationships, or the lack thereof, means believing that God has your best interest in mind. It means you can believe that God is good and looking out for you, and it means trusting a bigger picture than your relationship status right now. In all situations, ask the question, what is the wise thing for me to do? Then do that thing. As you head out today, I want you to remember that I'm not saying to not date. I'm not saying to not have crushes. But I am saying to be wise, to not be foolish, and don't make anyone your everything. If you struggle with any of this, talk to your small group leader. They've likely been in similar situations, and they can help you navigate what you're going through. Just like Paul cared about the people he wrote to and he encouraged them, your group leaders are there for you and they care about you and they want you to have an incredible life and make the most of the time that you have. So take the time to talk to them today, and let's go out and be very careful how we live. Let's make the wise decisions, not the foolish ones. And let's make every opportunity of the time we have in our day